Hi, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of this little show that I call Spill It. It's Spill It indeed. This is a show where I get to speak to inspirational people and share some inspirational stories to connect people together, inspire others, and help people learn something new. This episode is episode 93, Tea with Marcus, as we discuss coaching and therapy. If this is your first time in the listening to a Tea with Marcus episode, this is basically a time where I get to do a deep dive onto the subjects that we were talking about on the live show with a guest. Now, there are two different coaches that I've spoken to, and I thought that this episode would be quite fitting to basically go in for both of them. So yeah, we had Alexandra, who a few weeks ago talking about her coaching with like all of her different clients that she's got with like just all of the work that she does basically. So yeah, we've had Alexandra on a couple of weeks ago, and then we've just had on Monday Luke Slater, who was coming on and talking about wilderness therapy as well. So I just thought it'd be a really good episode to discuss therapy and coaching and what it all means, etc. And just to kind of break down a little bit of stigma around therapy and around coaching as well, and just hopefully educate some people as well. So, without further ado, let's go through the rest of it as well. So, yeah, don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe. There are 3 different things that I ask for. Obviously, as soon as you get into the live, just give it a quick like. That's all I ask for. Give it a quick like. It just helps the algorithms. It helps people find this, because then wherever you're watching it, whether it be LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook, think that this is watchable content. And then the more the people interact with it, the better, essentially. Yes. And of course, if you are listening to this on playback, or you if you are listening to this on playback, or you are listening to this on the podcast, then don't forget to rate and subscribe as well. Same things apply. Algorithms. That's what we do here. We're beating the algorithms. Of course, as well, make sure you get those comments and questions in live. The reason I ask for those is because then you're part of the conversation as well. And of course, if you are listening to this on playback, or you are listening to this on the audio podcast, then don't forget that you can also drop me an email, marcus@spillit.uk. Okay. Okay. Of course, as well, don't forget to hit the share button. Simple. Hit the share button. Get more people in here. Acquire new. I can't even speak today, guys. Acquire new teacups. There we go. Got it. Got it in one. Do you know what? I can't English today. And that. You ready for this? You ready? You ready? People who can't English. That's an ick, isn't it? That's a really good segue. There we go. Really good segue there. People who can't English. It's a nick of mine when you struggle speaking. So let's roll on over to those icks, shall we? Disgusting! That's right. It is What's Your Ick time. Okay, so I read out on last week's episode and on Monday's episode, I read out some of the icks that came through. I've decided that I'm going to save a few more of them purely because of the fact that obviously we've got our 100th episode coming up. So yeah, and also like there are some really, really good ones in there, and I want to do a full segment with it. So yeah. Anyway, what is my ick? Claire straight in the comments said my favorite time. I don't know if you'll I don't know what you'll think of this one. So basically, for those who don't know, I've reactivated my TikTok content creator account, and I started making more and more content again on TikTok. which is great because obviously I've managed to gain quite a few followers on there, and people who request certain things, like certain content being made and all of that lot, or whatever, and just help me make my content. So it's great to be back on there. However, I was scrolling through the lives. So what you can do on TikTok is that when there's like lives going on, you can just click the live tab, and then you can see all the lives that are happening. I was actually going to go live with TikTok tonight as well, so they could see what this is all about as well, which we might end up doing next week. So bear that in mind. I'll let you know that when it comes close to the time. But yeah, so essentially, you can go through the different lives. I'm really dragging this out, aren't I? So you can go through all the different lives, and there was somebody, and I'm not going to say who. There's reasons why I can't say who. However, right. I was watching their live, and somebody said to them in the comments, "So what do you do for a job?" Their response just gave me the biggest ick ever. The response was social media. Ah, I couldn't contain myself. Social media. My job is social media. That is not a job. I'm sorry, it's not a job. I refuse. I refuse, right? Your job is basically you're you're saying that your job is to sit on social media and make content. And I know that there are like influencers out there and things like that. I get that. I understand. Okay. But you can't say you can't say that social media is your job. It's not a job. And honestly, right, so the reason that I can't say who, so the reason that I can't say who is because this person um has been affiliated with Spill It before. So I'm not allowed to say. Now obviously we've had nearly 100 other guests on the show. So so it could be any one of them. But essentially, yes. I was watching this live and they went, "My job is TikTok." Oh, sorry, my job is social media. I was just like, no. No, it's not. It's definitely not. Like, if you consider your job like making content on TikTok, and you think that that's a job and that's a full-time job, that's something that you are proud of, that's something that you are working towards, etc., then unfortunately I've got news for you. Okay, this is where I'm going to spill a little bit of tea for you right now. Okay, if you consider, and feel free to tag them if you know who it is, or share them this video, because I swear I'm going to say it to their face anyway. If you consider TikTok and other social media platforms as your full-time job, you are basically considering, like, the only reason that TikTok is or other social media platforms are able to sustain your way of living is because of the fact that you're relying on kids and teenagers and young adults or whoever is using the app to send you money, to send you gifts. So on TikTok lives, for example, people send you gifts, okay, and those gifts equate to money. So, for example, on Thursday, I do my dance exercise class called Dance X Glow, and I decided that like just to try it out because I've been posting a lot of different dancing TikToks. I thought, well, you know what we'll do is it will go live on TikTok as well, so they can see what it's all about. And during that live, they were sending gifts as well. Now, these gifts equated to like 50p, for example. However, there are certain content creators out there who, let's say, telling people to send a certain level of gifts or a certain amount of gifts before they'll divulge certain information or whatever, if that makes sense. So this particular individual relies on kids, teenagers, young adults, etc., to send them money. That is not a full-time job. That is not a job. Okay. And I refuse that. I cannot abide by it at all. I get that there are, as I say, I get that there are what we call social media influencers, but that cannot be your job. I can't. And it was just the way that they said, I my job is social media. And I was just like, ick, ick. If you consider your job as social media, you are a walking ick. Just saying. Just saying. See you later. There you go. So that was What's Your Ick. Now back to normal. That little thing. Sorry, like normally, like I'll have I it's because I saw it and I was just like, I can't let this slide. So I thought, well, you know what? Why not do it on a public forum, man? Anyway, okay, so back to business. So on Monday's episode, on our live guest episode, we had a visit from my good friend Luke Slater, who came on and talked about wilderness therapy. It's something that he's been looking into for a while, and then obviously has gone into partnership with a business there as well, finding his own tribe and all of that lot. He talked about the benefits of being out in the open and how even going on a walk, like even like going through the woods or going through a park or something like that can really help because you are reconnecting with nature. We then had a guest on, Alexandra, a few weeks ago as well. And she is a coach for people who suffer with endometriosis. She was on the show and she was reminding people about what endometriosis is, but then also like the community that she's grown being these people's coaches essentially. So she coaches people on certain fitness that they can do or certain lifestyle things that they can do, certain meals to avoid and all of that lot, and she basically helps to uplift these people's spirits. And I thought, well, let's discuss an episode about coaching and therapy. So when you think about coaching and therapy, you automatically start thinking that there's something wrong with you. And so, like, when you think that, oh, like, if somebody says to you, do you go and see a therapist, or have you been to see a therapist? You automatically think there's something wrong with me if I have to go and see a therapist. And it's not that at all. Like, um, you never have to s- have something wrong with you to have to go and see a therapist. You having a therapist or having a coach can actually work wonders even if you are in a really good mental space, because it'll help you learn to deal with certain things, or it will help you to educate yourself about how you work and how your mind can process certain things as well. All therapists have therapy. Like, those are facts for you. Like, if you are a trained therapist, you are assigned a therapist, because even though you might have your head screwed on and you are helping other people, when you speak to other people, you take on their problems. And so therefore that weight can really do a number for like on you. And so therefore they are assigned a therapist, so then they can talk through their issues. and they can get to the root cause of why their mood swings are happening. Or if, for example, they're feeling a little bit glum one day, they know why. They know how to approach that as well. There is a difference between a coach and a therapist. So a therapist, you have to go out, you have to get a qualification, you have to get a degree, you have to be part of an awarding body who then signs you off to be a therapist. With a coach, actually, and this is fact, you don't need a degree or a qualification to be a coach. So when I say a coach, I mean like a life coach. Like for example, Alexandra she is a coach within the endometriosis community. She actually doesn't need any qualifications. She's got them and she's done phenomenal with it, but you don't actually need a qualification to be someone's coach. You can have like life experience, and sometimes that's even better. However, you don't actually need a qualification. And this is where, like, so when Alexandra was on the show, we were discussing the fact that there are so many different people out there who aren't qualified, and it gives actual coaches who have gone out and got a qualification and are doing fabulous work, it gives them a bad name because they're giving incorrect information, or they're telling them to do certain things and whatever, and it's because they've not been trained in the right way. So the major difference between coaching and therapy is the fact that a coach, you don't actually need any qualifications to do it. With therapy and being a therapist, you do actually have to be fully trained and fully qualified and fully vetted as well from the awarding body. So I am a qualified and certified life coach. I did my qualification several years ago. I've also done top ups as well. So every year I do like a seminar. I go to a seminar, sorry, like an online seminar, just to kind of brush up on my skill set and to brush up on my knowledge. I have struggled with the direction in which I've wanted to go into with coaching. You'll find that in the coaching world, you have to niche down where you want to go. So, for example, Luke, wilderness therapy. So he's all about the outdoors and creating safe spaces outside and creating a tribe and all of that lot. So that's one type of coach, and he's like drilling into that. You've also got then Alexandra, who deals with endometriosis. So really good, and that's narrowing down to a certain community. It's finding a niche. I went in originally and was like, I'll help everybody. I ended up helping a few people, but it's hard if you don't have a niche. And then I changed my niche to being anybody within the LGBTQ plus community. So it was going to be more targeted for people of LGBTQ plus people and parents. So they had somebody to talk to, etc. And then that kind of fell through a little bit. And then I changed it again to people who have struggled with mental health or maybe lost their jobs or tried to tried to get their life back on track after suffering poorly with mental health. And I got a few clients with that one. But again, it's a very touchy subject because you're dealing with people who have struggled with their mental health, and you could do something that would really push them back. And I was very aware of that. And so therefore I stepped away from it very quickly because I didn't want to be the reason that somebody tripped up or somebody relapsed or something like that. So so every year I have done these seminars to kind of reinvigorate where I want to go with the coaching side of things. There's just so many different coaches out there that specialize in different things. So you can get like a business coach, for example, and a business coach will help you set up a business and like guide you with like the setup process and the people who you need to know and how to network and things like that. There are public speaking coaches who will do phenomenal work in helping you find the confidence to just speak out loud and to hold a room, essentially. There are different coaches out there, relationship coaches or whatever. There are, whatever you can think of your life, there is a coach out there that can help you. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you if you need a coach. Sometimes it helps to have a different perspective. And that's what I try to offer when I was doing coaching. It was to help people understand a different perspective. I'm an outside person looking in. You're telling me this information. This is what I make of it. Have you thought about this? So a coach doesn't tell you what is right and what is wrong. A therapist can tell you, this is what I think. This is where you're telling me this, and this is what I make of it. Okay. So I think that have you ever considered blah, 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 blah. Whereas a coach is not allowed to do that. A coach has to get you to answer the questions. So they answer your questions with other questions. So then you get to the root problem, or you get to the root of cause, or you find your answer. A coach is there to empower you to know your own beliefs and know how strong you are and know that you have the answers all along. So that's what a coach is about. And there are as I say, many different coaches out there that deal with all sorts of different things. Sometimes we do need a coach, sometimes whether that just be a friend. They're a coach at times. Do you mean the amount of times that, you need to ring that friend up and just go, look, I need to have a moan. And they just listen. Like that, they're being a coach there. It's Coaches are all around, and not many people know about them. If you think that you need help with any form of something, then see if there's a coach. See if there's a coach in the area that can help out. See if there's somebody that can offer you a different perspective. They can help you find the answer. As I say, there's a difference between coaching and therapy, and both are completely justified. Like, if you want to get a coach because you are struggling to move forward in your career, that's perfectly fine. Excuse me. If you need a coach to help you in your career, to help you move forward, that's perfectly fine. Sometimes a coach needs a coach. There are coaches out there that help coaches. Like, so for example, the seminars that I go to, well, like once a year, the ones that I do online, there is a coach that holds that. They are a coach of coaches. So they help coaches, find their own answers and things like that. So there is a coach out there for absolutely anybody, no matter what you're going through. So yeah, if for example you need help in your career or whatever it is, maybe and you're really struggling and you don't really necessarily want to get in touch with like friends or family to or they're not really giving you the correct answers that you're wanting to or whatever, you might move to a different area and you're struggling. You could always reach out for a coach and just see, how much they're charging and whatever it is. The next step after that would obviously be therapy. And there is nothing wrong with therapy. And I think there's this whole stigma around therapy, as I said from the get-go, that if you decide that you are going to go to therapy, people think that there's something wrong. When in actual fact, there isn't anything wrong with anybody if you want to get therapy. Like literally nothing. The most sanest of people can go and get therapy. And the thing is, as well, with therapy, it's so much more easily accessible now. Like, I remember being younger, you would only ever hear about people going in to get therapy when, like, they were either famous or over in America or whatever. And we nobody's really done anything like, or nobody's really said anything about it up until like, or for me anyway, I've never really heard about it until maybe a few years ago. And whether that be because it's come of age or whatever, I don't know. But I just think that there's more and more things that people are doing to get into therapy now. And now it's so much more easily accessible for people. There are websites that you can go onto. There's one called BetterHelp, for example, and you type in exactly what you're looking for and exactly who you are and all of that lot, and they find therapists within your area. And they charge you like a monthly fee, but you get to speak to that individual every week if you need it. Sometimes we just need someone to listen that isn't a friend, that isn't a relative. It's easy enough for people to say, "Oh, hi, yeah, just remember that I'm always there for you. And if you ever need to talk, then just reach out." Sometimes people don't want to reach out to a friend or a family member. Sometimes they want to just they need somebody else. They need a third party to somebody that isn't going to be biased, if you will. Or, for example, like sometimes people don't want to reach out to friends and family when they're going through something because they don't want to admit that they're going through something. They don't want to come across as like either weak or something like that, which I know is stupid. Like if you are thinking that like that, then have a quiet word with yourself because you're never weak if you're asking for help. However, there are certain people who don't want to, who might feel like they don't want to let someone down, or that they are coming across as weak, or they're feeling like feeling very insecure, and so therefore they can't really speak to friends or family, etc. So, speaking to a third party, whether that be a coach, whether that be a therapist, is perfectly fine. So, I just wanted to share that. I think, like going on to what we talked about on Monday's episode with Luke, the wilderness therapy side of things, I really resonate with. Like, I think that that's so cool. I've never really heard of it until I'd spoken to Luke like a couple of years ago, anyway. And I just think that it's so cool. Like, there's just something about it that just ticks boxes for me. So I might go and give that a try. So if you're up for that, let me know. It'd be cool to like get a few people together, like, and do something like that, essentially. But yeah, if you feel like you need a coach or you need someone to talk to that isn't a friend or a relative, it is perfectly fine for you to seek out a coach or to seek out a therapist. They're there for a reason, right? So also, if you're thinking about becoming a coach, do it 100%. It's worth it, especially if you have that experience and that life experience anyway. It's definitely worth it. So that's that's what I would say. I love it, to be fair. And I love going to my seminars once a year just to kind of brush up on everything as well. Um and I may not have necessarily have niched down to something yet. I'm still finding my feet, but I can definitely see that there's going to be plans in the future when it comes to my coaching anyway. So yeah. As I say, if you think that you might need someone to talk to, even if it's not like a bad thing. Like I'm not saying that. Do you need someone to talk to? Like I don't mean it like that. What I mean is life changes, doesn't it? Could be in like 3 months' time, you go through a bit of a rough patch, and you just think, "Do you know what? I'm going to just go and speak to someone. I'm just going to reach out to someone, just have a therapist for a month. I'll go and see them on a weekly basis or whatever." Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes they just help you connect the dots in your head, or sometimes they just help you declutter what's going on up there as well. It's perfectly fine. You are not a weak person if you seek therapy, and you are not there's nothing wrong with you if you are seeking therapy at all. as I said, right, at the beginning anyway, all therapists have therapy, and they're trained. So, yeah. That, ladies and gentlemen, thems and friends, was my tea for today. So, thank you for tuning in for a little bit of tea with me as we talked about coaching and therapy. I've got some more thoughts about it all, but it is what it is. There are so many things to talk about when it comes to coaching and therapy. This episode could go on for absolutely ages. There's no point in that. Just remember what I said. There's nothing wrong with you if you need a little bit of help just to declutter what's going on up on here, okay? Next week on Spill It, we have got returning guest Jack Dinsley. So you might remember Jack, who came on the show during season 1, who talked about the Stammer campaign that he was launching. Sorry, just jumping back in the... What music are you playing? I'm playing music, Linda. You're ruining my outro. Anyway, right. So you might remember Jack from when he came on in season 1 when Spill It was just a little baby, and he was talking about the Stammer campaign that he was launching. Okay, so he was going around schools and all of that law, basically spreading awareness about stammering and about the behaviors that we need to do and we need to change when we're speaking to people who suffer with a stammer. Well, he's gone on to win awards, to have some serious recognition, and he's going to be back on the show on Monday's episode next week. Not only that, you get a bonus episode next week. So there'll be another episode on Wednesday and there'll be another episode on Friday as well. We're slowly coming close to that end, the 100th episode, the end of Spill It. So yeah, make sure that you stay tuned next week. As I say, you've got 2 Tea with Marcus episodes, and then you've got your Jack episode on Monday as well. For all things social media wise, make sure you drop me a follow at @_MarcusW. You can find me everywhere that there is an @ symbol, including on TikTok. So make sure you go over there and give me a cheeky follow, will you? And of course, if you wanted to get in touch with me, then you can do. Just head over to my emails, marcus@spillit.uk. Send me your stories, send me your icks, send me your comments, your concerns, your worries, whatever it is, your help, your advice, etc. Especially your icks. I absolutely love reading your icks. So if you have got one, drop me a DM over on my socials, or just drop me an email, marcus@spillit. Okay? And that officially takes us to the end of the episode. Okay? Thank you. Sorry, I was reading your comments again, Linda. Okay, and sorry. You don't need to apologize. It's there's no secret. So it's called, the music playing is called Dance Pop, and it's basically just background music. Okay, it's just background music for my on my show, just background music. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure once again for having you all with me for a little bit of tea with Marcus. And that officially takes us to the end of the episode. So thank you so much. And only one thing left to do. Until we spill it again, it's bye for now. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Spill It. You can catch Spill It live every week over on Facebook, YouTube, and now LinkedIn. You can also catch up with Spill It on the move on your preferred podcast streaming service. And don't forget to follow me on all my socials at @_MarcusW. And for anything Spill It related, you can always get in touch with me by dropping me an email, marcus@spillit.uk.